When people are fed, futures are nourished. They can connect with the world around them, unlock endless possibilities, and thrive. Join the movement to end hunger. Volunteer. Advocate. Donate. Go to feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor. What a great day it has been. Honestly, no complaints from the Maynor household, and I don't think there's any complaints coming from North Mississippi at all. With the cooler temperatures, the drier weather, and absolutely picture-perfect forecast. August, you've been blessing us for sure. Looking at those headlines we'll be discussing here at the Room to Room Weather Center is that perfect summer forecast. It continues. We're not done with it just yet. We're also tracking that temperatures are trending even better. Yes, it was cool next week, but it's getting even cooler with some of our latest temperature outputs. And what happened in July? We're going to take a latest look at what happened and why that's setting the scene for us here in August and what we need to happen in August to accommodate for those lackluster conditions. And that's a little sneak peek of what we're going to be expecting. But let's go ahead and start with getting a live look outside. I mean, some of our North Mississippi Storm Chasers cameras just showing off with the blue skies and beautiful weather we've been seeing. Greenville, you can see just the extensive blue skies. And you think with all of that sunshine, we'd be warming up to oppressive conditions. 88 degrees at 6 p.m. And earlier, I mean, it was only the low 90s. Feels like 93. So that humidity value at 55%. Thank you. Well, that humidity value, that's the reason why it feels so great outside. Even Siri just can't get enough of it that she's talking to us. So shout out her. Well, let's go ahead and get another look at one of our cameras, this time over around Macon. 83 degrees right now, feels like 90. So some locations better than others, but all across North Mississippi. I mean, it's an absolutely perfect forecast. Can't get enough of it here in North Mississippi. August 2nd. You are blessing us for sure. Mississippi Live Weather Radar showing you that pretty much there's nothing to note on radar and hasn't been over the entire extent of our day. Let's just loop it over the last 6 hours. You can get a visual for yourself. But what all of this is just ground clutter, not going to be anything that's happening up in the sky. So no rain chances were in the forecast, but just a little bit out east to our neighbors there in Birmingham, Brent, Utah, and Tuscaloosa, getting those isolated showers and thunderstorms. So folks out there, whole different story, whole different forecast. But that's just a result of that frontal boundary that we've been tracking lingering over the top of those folks. As we take a look out at our satellite, let me jump to now real quick so it doesn't just keep looping. Let's look at some of our satellite imagery, and you can see, I'll zoom it out to let you get a visual, that we are completely dry and completely clear here on our satellite imagery at 6:02. So not only has it been dry, it's also been clear skies. So allowing for that beautiful sunshine to shine through. If you have not gone outside, I highly recommend it just because very rarely do we get this kind of forecast. I'm going to keep saying it because it's just unbelievable. So the next 12 shows us great conditions continuing into our overnight hours. So any Saturday night plans, you don't need the rain gear and you don't even need you might be able to rock some jeans or something like that. Yeah, it's that cool outside. 83 by 7, dipping below 80 by 9 o'clock, and then 75 towards 10. Tomorrow morning, yes, those temperatures are real. Some of us could be waking up with temperatures in the upper 60s. Been quite a while since we've been able to say that, but a result of that frontal boundary that's lingering to our south, giving us some of those great conditions. So what you see right here is this stationary front, and that's where it's been looping over the past 12 to 24 hours. A large batch of that moisture continues to develop right along that front. So since it's just positioned to our south, that's the reason why we've seen very little moisture and very little cloud cover. What we also have with this front is some of those, I'm going to keep it blue because blue means cool, some of that northern wind blowing in place. And so whenever you get that northern wind, it's much drier, and we can just write it out, dry, and it's also cool. So we get those below average temperatures, we get those much better sky conditions, and that's the reason why those humidity values are not overly high, and also the reason why we're not getting any rain chances. So it's a great forecast and one that we are going to take every second of while we have it. Let's go ahead and extend this into the futurecast just a bit. And you can see that low, that frontal boundary, I mean, that's going to continue to linger there along coastal regions of the Gulf. What this low is doing, we know that lows have that counterclockwise motion. We've talked about it several times here on Mississippi Live Weather. But that's the reason why there's so much moisture on the east side of this low. The west side, those winds blowing in from the north, well, the reason why is because it has that counterclockwise motion. So, of course, it's going to bring around some of that continental air to here in North Mississippi, but just about 100 miles over, a completely different story with that wraparound of that Gulf moisture moving in place on eastern sections of Alabama and even reaching all the way towards Birmingham and Chattanooga. So whole different forecast. We are definitely grateful for our window of opportunity. So continue to enjoy it. Let me clear this off the screen real quick and we can kind of walk through this forecast some more. But basically what we'll be watching for is the extent of that frontal boundary. I'm trying to clear it off. Let's wait for the loop to stop. I don't know if I ever set a stop point on this. Okay, 9 a.m., there we go. The reason why there wasn't a stop point is because there's really nothing to note in that overnight forecast. Again, just dry, clear, and cool for the start of our Sunday. Temperature-wise, upper 60s because of that northern air and because of those clear skies. We talk about when it's a cloudy sky, it kind of blankets the heat, doesn't allow it to escape. So whenever we get it to be clear, that heat kind of radiates out and then we're going to be experiencing those cooler conditions. So 9 a.m. still looking picture perfect for our forecast. Some of that moisture does try to wrap around to our northwest folks there in northwest Alabama. So maybe have an umbrella in the backseat if you're in Franklin, Marion, or Pickens County, but that's really the extent of it. And even that is not a high likelihood of seeing any rain showers. As you can see, once it gets on the west side of that low, it's really not going to be impacting too many folks. So the next 24 is definitely a drier forecast and honestly a clear sky forecast with plenty of sunshine, especially by lunch. Picnic in the park, this is the forecast for it. So let's go ahead and head out to Ballard or head out to Veterans Park and enjoy that forecast and take the dogs. The dogs will enjoy these conditions as well. And even towards the afternoon, yes, there are going to be a few patchy clouds up in the sky, but that's the extent of our sky cover. 10% is what we have towards tomorrow evening for a brief isolated shower. That's going to be for folks there in northwest Alabama. Still not seeing that moisture move into North Mississippi just yet. So over the next 60, or coming up in 60, should I say, we are going to be tracking more on the extended forecast when it comes to the rain chances, because rain chances will be picking up heading into our work and school week ahead, but also those temperatures. How long do those great temperatures stick around for? We'll be walking through that extended forecast coming up in the next 60 here on Mississippi Live Weather. We also are going to have a look back at July and give a request to August for what we need here in North Mississippi. So stay with us here in the next minute. We'll be talking much more details about that extended forecast.
At Absolute Restoration, our team will feel magical since our focus is on serving you and your roofing needs. Finding a roofer who actually shows up and communicates, that's just one of the problems we solve by informing you of every step in the process.
Selling premium roofing systems backed by warranties and payment plans starting at just $99 per month. Trust Absolute Restoration to deliver.
Experience unicorn-level service and affordability from a team your community trusts. Call Absolute Restoration today.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
Now we're going to keep using the North Mississippi Storm Chasers cameras because they're just absolutely beautiful this evening. Should be a great sight for sunsets this evening. So if you want to get out and about, hey, picnic this evening, that's a perfect time to do so. But if not, head to the Mississippi Live Weather stream. We have these cameras running 24/7, giving you a visual on what's happening, and it gives a great look at sunsets. Sometimes I catch myself just staring up at the screen and I have to get back to work because I just get distracted by it because it looks so good. So 85 degrees there in Winona, feels like 88. I mean, that is a great forecast. Humidity at 58%. It's been a while since we've seen a forecast this dry. And not just in Winona, even over around the Corinth area, we had these great conditions. This a service of the Iron Rail cameras. Can't really see the sky too much. A little bit more of that cloud cover there on the top right portion of your screen, but still 82, feels like 86. Some of the cooler temperatures that we've seen here in North Mississippi coming from Alcorn County this evening. 81 in Prentiss County, 79 in Iuka. This is just unreal to experience this here on August 2nd. 83 Hamilton, and even out towards our south and west. I mean, Greenwood usually coming in with the highest temperatures in the area. 89 right now, and that is not at all a bad forecast, and 87 all across the Mississippi River with Greenville, Cleveland, and Clarksdale. So comfortable wherever you're at here in North Mississippi. Continue to soak it in and enjoy it. Mississippi Live Weather Radar, like we mentioned, nothing happening outside, not even a cloud in the sky for a lot of us just because of that drier forecast that's in place. Those winds, you can kind of see it in some of the motion right here, but blowing all of that that. This is probably bugs and things like that, but that's being blown to the south, and so that's just a result of that northerly wind pushing some of that through the area. So that's the extent of what we're seeing in that northerly wind, a big factor in that forecast. And also a big factor is going to be this low that's trying to develop along that frontal boundary there in southern Alabama, wrapping around some of that moisture into Birmingham, Gadsden, and all the way up north and east into Knoxville and towards Charlotte, should I say. So we are watching that, but not expected to impact our forecast. The furthest it'll get is for our northwest Alabama folks. So have that rain gear around just in case, but don't expect to be using it. My favorite quote here. So your day planner, 7 p.m., 83 degrees. And why I said a perfect evening for a picnic in the park, 83 is not bad at all. Concrete should not be overbearing for the pups. And even some of the black asphalt and things like that, not bad whatsoever with these temperatures. 75 by 10 and 72 closer to 1. So we are going to be much cooler for the start of our Sunday. If you wake up early enough, you might see the 60s on your temperature reading. And we can see that on Futurecast too. Again, the result of that northerly wind blowing in that drier continental air and not even a cloud in the sky for the most part. Yes, I mean, you do see some blips of green popping up. That is not going to be verified. We are staying dry overnight just because of that northerly wind circulating in a lot of that dry air. So even those early morning hours while we're asleep, you can see how the clouds clear out. And that the clouds act like a blanket in the sky when it's those stratus clouds stretched all across the area. So temperatures can't cool off as much when you trap the heat inside, but once you allow it to escape, well, then you get a much cooler forecast. And that's what we're going to be getting for the start of our Sunday. 6 a.m. clear skies, and you can see temperature-wise, mid-60s, Tunica and Senatobia, 66 Boonville, Iuka, 69 towards Starkville, and we are still in the low 70s for Columbus, Macon, and Aliceville, a result of some of that residual cloud cover circulating off some of that low in southern Alabama. So that's not bad if that's the only areas that are seeing 70s, considering the rest of us. I mean, we could be low 60s in some parts in Senatobia and Tunica, watching that area especially. As the day goes on, comfortable forecast does stick around. By 8, 9 o'clock, continue to see those dry conditions, and just pay attention to the winds, because that's really the main driver in this forecast. And whenever you get those strong wind gusts coming out of the north, that's where you know it's going to be a dry forecast. So 10 a.m., still seeing those dry conditions stick around. You do see some of this cloud cover try to go across the Alabama state line, and some of those could produce some brief isolated showers. This is noontime on our Sunday, our typical afternoon pattern. But as the day goes on, you can watch how those showers kind of circulate in but dissolve on out once they cross the Alabama-Mississippi state line. So not expecting anything too significant. We could get a brief isolated shower that could be a bit of a downpour there towards Franklin and Marion County, something we're tracking heading into our 3 o'clock hour. But as we head further into the evening, you can see how those never move into North Mississippi for the most part. And this is just primarily going to be a northwest Alabama, but even those chances 10-20% max. High temperatures 88, 87, 90 in some parts for the highest extent, but that again is a picture perfect forecast. We'll take every second of this while we get it, and heat indices follow that same trend with that drier forecast in place. 86 Iuka, 88 Boonville, 92 in Tupelo, 92 Grenada, and 93 Greenwood and Belzona. But don't worry, we're not on a warming trend. We're actually getting cooler heading into the work week. A little sneak preview of what we'll talk about here in just a moment. Through the rest of our Futurecast, you can see that moisture does still try to linger along the state line there by 10 p.m. So that's why our chances are more heightened into that 6 to 10 o'clock hour. So something we'll be tracking. 6 a.m. on our Monday, you do see cloud cover moving into the forecast. And we know that cloud cover, that moisture building back, it traps the heat overnight. But what it also does is it doesn't allow temperatures to rise too much, because the sun doesn't come out, get to the ground and warm up the atmosphere. So it's not going to be too oppressive on the heat. It's not going to rise our temperatures too much at all through the day on our Monday afternoon. So also paired with that is going to be some of that rain-cooled air with isolated showers popping up. That low starting to circulate a bit more of that moisture here into North Mississippi. So especially by 3, 4, 5 o'clock, those isolated showers continue to develop. And then by 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we continue to see those chances linger. So 20% coverage is what we have for our Monday. Heightened chances by Tuesday and Wednesday. So something we're keeping an eye on in that extended forecast. But here's a look at high temperatures. And again, the area that sees the most of that moisture, we're talking 82 in Hamilton, 82 Vernon, 81 down there towards Aliceville and Red Bay, 83 Boonville. And then they just steadily rise as you head further towards the west with 91 Greenwood, Belzona, and 92 over and around Greenwood. Heat indices, yes, there is some of that moisture returning, but again, not a bad forecast at all, with low 80s, upper 70s along the Alabama state line, and then further to the west where it's a bit of a drier forecast, but still getting that mugginess or that moisture moving back in place. We're 94, 95, 94. So yes, it will be a slightly higher, but it's not going to be anything close to a heat advisory. So continue to stay hydrated, but more than likely not seeing anything too impactful heat-wise for the next several days. You can see Monday, 86 degrees for a high temperature, 87 for Tuesday, 88 Wednesday. So that gradual warming trend in place, but all over those that 7-day span, not anywhere close to that normal high temperature. We're going to stay below that for the next 7 days. Again, a stretch like this is very rare this time of year, and heat indices follow that same trend. We're falling off. I'd actually lower the chart to cover some of these temperatures because 85, 90 degrees for our heat indices on our Monday, that is something rare this time of year. And Tuesday, just slightly above 90, Wednesday back into 95, and then we'll be close to the triple digits come Friday, but still a very dry pattern in regards to how it'll feel outside, so mugginess not going to be too impactful. That 7-day forecast, we talked about those 20% chances of rain on our Monday, Tuesday 30, Wednesday 40. These are still very iffy on that extended forecast, and that's one thing we'll be tracking more in detail coming up tonight at 10 is just what the latest outputs are saying, because it's not a high confidence in this rain event. This is just the area that we're seeing the highest likelihood of seeing some of those showers develop from Tuesday all the way to Thursday, but those chances are flip-flopping from 30 to 40, and I could see some of them drop down to 20 once we really register how much moisture moves back into the forecast Monday, and then we can verify what's going to come Tuesday and Wednesday. So every model output matters when it comes to this forecast, and we'll be keeping a close eye on that here at Mississippi Live Weather through the weekend and even for the start of the week. Temperature-wise, though, again, I'll re-emphasize it. We're going to see the 80s for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and for some parts, Thursday as well, before climbing back into the 90s Friday and Saturday. Isolated chances do linger all week long, so have that rain gear ready, but not for your Sunday. Sunday staying dry for the most part, except for folks in Northwest Alabama. So enjoy it, soak it in, and get outside to take advantage of that forecast. I do want to say one way that you can track the forecast is the Mississippi Live Weather app. Gives you all the latest information, but we do actually have another segment coming up here in the next 60 that's walking you through an event that happened with some of those storms that moved through on our Thursday and Friday, and what we're also going to track is what happened in July that needs to set the scene moving into our August forecast. We'll walk through all of that coming up in the next 60.
Here is your opportunity to add 2 beautiful guns to your collection and support scouting. Scan the QR code to purchase your chance to win a Browning Citori 725 Sporting Maple over and under 12 gauge shotgun or a 75th anniversary Boy Scout commemorative Winchester Model 9422 rifle. Support the Natchez Trace Council Scouts with your raffle entries today.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Now that was a video from the Timberlake Campground there in Brandon, Mississippi, a result of those thunderstorms that rolled through the area Thursday and Friday. I believe this happened towards Friday. And you can see what those strong wind gusts did. We actually got another video that showed the water just being whipped around when it comes to those strong wind gusts. Toppled the trailer, flipped it right on over. I hear that everyone was okay in this circumstance, but it shows that even those strong wind gusts can be damaging. It doesn't take a significant warning like a tornado warning to do damage. It can just be some strong wind gusts as well. Another look right there of the camper, and you can see the water in the background at the Timberlake Campground. So those storms definitely packed a punch when it came to our Friday forecast. So it's important that we don't get in those high profile vehicles. These are easily toppled in some strong wind gusts. So fortunately the family was not in the camper at the time, but we want everyone to stay safe. So stay out of semis, stay out of RVs, stay out of anything that's a high profile vehicle. Yeah, because in these strong wind gusts, if you're anywhere higher, especially large trucks like that, you can get picked up easier in those winds and topple on over. So stay safe in those strong storms. And of course, we won't see strong storms for a good while, so we have a little bit of time to prepare. This was a look at our forecast this morning, and this was Mary in Fulton, one of our weather watchers out in the field, giving us a great shot of those clouds rolling on in. But that was the extent of the cloud cover this morning. My wife and I, we went to a volleyball game this morning, and whenever we were driving through, we looked up in the sky and we saw some alto stratus clouds, that kind of the rows that develop in the sky. A great looking sky. I hope that you woke up early enough to see it, because we were loving every second of that. But this is the extent of those. I mean, you just basically get this heavy cloud cover at first. As the day went on, a lot of that moisture fizzled out, especially as that front pushed south. Took the clouds, took the rain, took everything, and left us with a beautiful forecast for our Saturday evening. So big thank you to Mary for submitting that as well. But July was a fun month, right? 90 is what we started out at on July 1st. But as the month went on, you can see how much orange is on your screen. And I do want to point out that that's an above average temperature from where we should be at. So the first 11 days, we should be around 91 degrees. Beyond that, into the rest of our month, we should be around 92. So you can see, 12th and beyond, we were more likely above average than not. The one cool day, the reason why it was below average is because that was a significantly rainy day. And so a lot of that rain-cooled air moved in place. And so we took 83, but we took a lot of heat. One of the things that come with the heat is drier conditions. It kind of dries up the atmosphere. That heat evaporates a lot of the moisture that we do have in the ground. So that's why we always talk about, yes, the drought monitor is becoming more of a concern, because it's not just the heat that we got, it's also the moisture. Here's a look at I meant to change that. That was supposed to be July rainfall. These are actually our July rainfall output, so forgive me for that. But look at how many rainy days we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I actually wrote over here, I'm going to go get the paper because I can't do mental math right now. But looking at those totals, that was 1.79 inches, and our average should be around 3.9 inches for the month of July. So the fact that we were nearly 2 inches off and a very, very hot forecast for the month, that has set us up for a rough time for the drought monitor. So I expected it to cover more area. Honestly, this last run, I would not be surprised if the rain is not too impactful this week, that drought monitor will come out and look even worse into this week. So something we're continuing to track, but August, we need rainfall and we need it quickly because it needs to account for what we saw in July. Again, I apologize for April. That is July for our output of rainfall and for our output of temperatures here in the Tupelo area. So some areas did get higher than others. I do want to point that out as well. This is primarily for our Tupelo station that kind of covered the little bit of that area. So some areas, I know we got 2 inches in some parts. We got 4.5 inches over there in, I believe, Webster County yesterday evening. So their numbers will vary. This is just an overall average of what to expect for the month of July, and we need more rainfall. That's point blank period. So as we head into the rest of our evening, luckily the heat not going to continue. 83 by 7, 75 by 10, and 72 closer to 1. But we do need rainfall, and we do have chances of that heading into this work week. One of the things we'll be walking through tonight at 10 is those rainfall outlooks and just what to expect this week and even in the extended forecast, because I know farmers need the rainfall right now. They need their crops to grow, and so I know a lot of other people, my garden, or should I say the Manor garden, it's in desperate need of some rainfall as well. So we'll be looking at that in more detail tonight at 10. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email, info@msliveweather.com, or you can make sure to put it in the chat if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook as of this moment. So write it down, send it to us, and we'll love to cover that in more detail tonight at 10. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have a fantastic evening. Again, picnic at the park. Go see that sunset for yourself and enjoy these great conditions while we have them. We'll see you back here at 10. Have a great evening.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.